Hey, and welcome to season 7 episode. Why are you laughing at me? Hello, and welcome to
you were
season
harassing me.
7, episode 9 of the Virtual Coffee Podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Bekah, and this is a podcast that features members of the Virtual Coffee community. Virtual Coffee is an intimate group of developers at all stages of their coding journey, and we're here on this podcast sharing their stories and what they've learned. And today, we are here sharing our own stories. Here with me today is my co-host, Dan.
Hey, what up, Beck? How's it going?
Yo, it is going good.
Yo.
We just wrapped up our lightning talks.
Yes, they
which
were
is
amazing. My gosh.
Yeah.
So many good talks.
I think we had 11 or 12, which was really fun.
Yeah, no, I can't count, but like there was so many. And yeah, I did a talk, and somebody made me not touch my talk until last night at like 9 o'clock.
Oh, someone made you do that?
Yeah. It was not my fault at all. So I did the thing where you know how you commit to something way ahead of time to make yourself do it.
Yeah, and then like someone reminds you constantly.
Right. And then you have somebody that
and
you
then
trust,
you still don't do it, like kind of like that.
That reminds you a bunch of times to work on it,
Mhm,
and you ignore them over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, like the night before, it's late, and you have to do your slides and all that stuff, and it's not your fault at all, right?
Wrong. Very wrong.
Anyway,
Very wrong.
I was up late
I
too.
don't know what that feels like, Dan. I don't. That's not me. I'm not that person.
Yeah, well, I've just kind of always been that person. Although this was like an extreme example, and I'm not really sure why. You know, it just happened where I was like every day I was like, I should work on my lightning talk. I should work on my lightning talk. One of the problems was I couldn't decide on a topic. I was waffling between two topics for a really long time, and so I finally decided on a topic on, I think, Wednesday. When did I send you the title? I sent you a title just to like, I sent you a title, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday, just to like commit myself. I still honestly had thought there was a point last night at like 7 p.m., I think, where I was like, I should tell Becca I'm doing the other one.
I will say that it was very good. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, it was fun.
It turned out to be really insightful and something that I haven't really heard anybody else talk about. So I did very much appreciate your ADHD
That's good,
effort.
because my other one was like a CSS, thing. You know what I mean? And it would have been fun and stuff, but like it was like more of like a tech talk, and this was the first one that I've ever really done. I've really done that wasn't just about like some technology, So I don't know, it was fun.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
You want to catch up later, check us out at Virtual Coffee. No, youtube.com/virtualcoffee.io. Is that right? YouTube.
Yeah, and YouTube changed things a little bit. So sometimes there's some issues if you do /virtualcoffee.io because now they have handles. So it might be /@virtualcoffee.io. But either way, you should be able to find your way there.
Either way. Or go to virtualcoffee.io and there's links to YouTube.
Yes, there's that. I am going to introduce our very special guest today.
Man, we have a special guest.
We do. Who was our very first guest ever on the Virtual Coffee Podcast. I'm going to pause there so you all can go check out who was our very first guest. It was Taylor, and he taught us about structured YOLO, which has influenced my entire life. And here he is today.
Nick! Hey, what's up, friends?
What's up, Nick?
Hey. He's got a fancy haircut and everything.
Pretty good. Yeah. I got a haircut and lost 5 pounds just cutting my hair. So that was good. So continuing with my weight loss journey, just get a haircut and you're halfway there. So
well, okay, we're going to let's formally get started because we start every episode of the podcast like we start every Virtual Coffee with our name, where we're from, what we do, and our random check-in question. And we're going to pull from Kirk's question from Thursday, which
Oh, okay.
is, what job did you want to have as a
Oh,
kid?
yeah.
So
Okay.
my
Who's
name's
gonna go
Bekah.
first? You gonna go?
I am starting a job on April 10th as
Whoop.
developer experience lead at a place. That's a startup
At a
that
place.
you can find out more
Yeah.
about later.
You've never heard of TBD, Dan? It's a
Yeah.
pretty popular company. A lot of people are at TBD.
TBD.io.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
And I answered this question yesterday. So I wanted to be a vet, and then my mom was like, "Do you know that you have to put a thermometer up dogs' butts to take their temperature?" And I was like, "I don't wanna do that. How about I be a forensic pathologist instead?"
I
'Cause
feel
that
like dogs butts is like the best case scenario in that situation too.
we were, like, very, very big, X-Files fans, so
Okay.
I just wanted to be a Scully, really. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted. And
Okay. That's valid.
Yeah, nothing wrong
I'd
with
probably
that.
I'd probably take a Scully over. Hold on a sec. Let me stick this thermometer in your dog's butt. Just in terms of at least when you're doing small talk at a party. I don't mean to brag, but I stick a thermometer up dogs' butts daily. Can I buy you a drink? I don't know if that's violating any of our
Also,
code
like,
of conduct.
party
I'll
tricks.
find out
Not
after
yet.
the
We're not yet
recording.
there, so we're good. All right, Dan, your turn.
Oh wow. Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Dan. I live in Cleveland. I am a website developer. I don't know. That always seems so weird. I'm
Never
a
know your
web
title.
developer. I don't know. I don't have a title is the problem, you know?
You get to make
I'm
up your
a
own title.
It's
businessman.
Dan TBD. Dan TBD.
That's right. And yes, going along with the TBD theme, I mean I never had a job that I wanted to do as a kid. I'm sure there's jobs that like sounded exciting or whatever, but there was never like, I never latched on anything. The only thing
Okay.
I was talking about this on Thursday, the only thing that I can really remember related to that was that I knew for sure that I did not want to be a lawyer because my dad's a lawyer.
That's
And
all
like
I wanted to be. From the time I was 11 until the time I was 21, that's what I wanted to be.
a lawyer,
Yeah.
but that's
Yes.
different than a forensic second. Wait, now you're changing your story.
Okay, because but it was like the first job that you wanted. But from the time I was
Oh, the
11 until
first.
21,
Okay.
that's all I wanted to be. And then I didn't do great on my LSATs, okay? I didn't hit that 161.
But the
Whatever. I didn't
TLDR,
get into Case
no
Western.
dog thermometer butts. No dog thermometer butts. That's the continuing theme,
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Although hearing the stories my dad tells, honestly, like if he had to choose between sitting through another like board meeting with the people that he has to deal with or doing the dog butt thing, I think he probably would choose the dog butt thing, honestly, in retrospect. But yeah, I mean, he's just like, he does like property law stuff, and it always seemed very, 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 very boring to me. And so,
It
although
sounds super
he has
boring.
a successful, self-driven career as well and stuff. So no shots against lawyers. It's just like never seemed good to me. And so I don't really have an answer. That was my non-answer. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. I don't have a really good answer either, but and I'm gonna give a long story, sorry, but so I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and like I don't know if you grew up with people that are like they knew what they wanted to do from like day one. Like I remember in high school, like grade 7, somebody's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a doctor," and I think they did become a doctor, but like I'm like no idea, like I had Doritos like an hour ago. Was exciting. Um but I don't know, like as like I had this is like less of a job these days for like kids, but like I used to have a paper route and I was okay. But like I remember as a kid, like my dream job was to be a gas pump station attendant. Partially because I do like the smell of gas. There's people that either like the smell of gas or they don't. I'm on team smells good. And I don't know. There was
strong agree. Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know why, but it just seemed like a cool job, and it's what I wanted to do. And in retrospect, well, one, I didn't end up doing that. So probably smelling those fumes all day is probably a good thing I didn't do that. But in high school, I don't know if they still do this, but they used to give out like surveys you would fill out, like what's your career going to be by some criteria you fill out. And my career was supposed to be a cheesemaker. So it's like, I'm cool with that. I like cheese, but I honestly, I never really had anything like big dreams of things aside from I love basketball. I've told this many times to people in virtual coffee, but for folks who can't see us because it's a podcast, I'm 5'7", but I used to be obsessed with basketball, and I used to literally be able to grab a regulation rim. Like I couldn't dunk it because I couldn't palm a ball, but I could literally jump high enough to grab the rim.
That
And
is crazy impressive.
Yeah, it is.
It was impressive. At the time, I was 135 pounds. Now I'm a little bulkier, so like I'm like 195 right now. But the thing was, I was so obsessed with basketball, like like a lot of people. It was the 90s, so loved Michael Jordan, the Bulls and stuff, and I was constantly jumping like all the time. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like I bought these books from the back of a bodybuilding magazine on how to improve your vertical. This is like I don't know if they still sell stuff in the back of books like that, like buy this pamphlet or whatever.
Listen,
but
we just bought some kind of bands to improve our vertical in this house.
Okay.
So, like, we would be those people.
Yeah. But the thing is, it works. It's just you have to consistently do it. And I was literally in my parents' living room using a dining room chair, doing one-legged jumps. And then like eventually I was able to touch our ceiling. It was like a split level house, but basically it was pretty high. I used to have these things called moon boots. And they're
Yes.
basically
Oh, yeah.
running
Yes.
shoes where the platform is in the front and your heel is never touching the ground. I did all those things, and like in this is such a long answer, sorry, but like in between all that, I broke my ankle playing basketball, so I was like in a cast before grade 9 all the way up to my knee for like the whole summer. So
Oh.
part of getting back into things, like it took me a year to be able to run again, so like physio, all that stuff, and that's one of the moon boots and the jumping. And anyways, that didn't pan out because one, I'm 5'7", and I'm also realized I'm clearly not good enough to play in the NBA, which is pretty much probably most people. But yeah, that was kind of it. That's my long-winded story. Maybe I should have been a cheesemaker. Who knows?
Well, I think you're doing a pretty great job at what you are doing. So I don't think you should be a cheesemaker. But the last time we had you on, you had a totally different job. You want to tell people about what you're doing now?
Yeah. So the first, like you were saying, the first episode of this podcast, I was working at Dev.to. So I've been working in open source professionally since January 2020. I was contributing to open source prior to that, and I still do contribute to open source outside of work hours. But now I'm at Netlify. I'm on the ecosystem pillar, which is just a fancy name for like the big team. And then I'm on a smaller team within there called the frameworks team. So basically my job is to make sure, whatever framework you're deploying to Netlify, it works. It's not just my team. Like there's obviously people that run the platform and stuff, but like my team is at the center of like the actual build of the framework and making sure it works properly with like serverless and edge. So that's kind of what I've been up to. I've been there. It's actually going to be my 1-year anniversary on Tuesday. So
Nice. Congrats.
it's pretty wild. Like I feel like I've been there forever, but I mean that in a good way. Like how it's kind of like if you're just hanging out with people for like a weekend or something and you feel like, or like a great vacation and you're like, it's like 5 days, but you feel like you've been there 2 weeks, kind of. So it's felt like that. And I have really great managers and skip level. They're super supportive and everybody's really cool. So it's, last time I was on the podcast, I said Dev.to is my dream job, and it was at the time. And like, so right now this is my dream job. So like, not that I plan on leaving anytime soon, but like, hopefully I can keep saying my dream job is my next job all the time. So
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that.
We love Netlify at Virtual Coffee. We've been Netlify. I don't want to say customers because Netlify has an amazing open source, like, I don't know, plan or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So if you're open source repositories, they'll host your sites for free and give you like the pro plan, give you what Netlify is the pro plan. If you're a business and you have private repositories, if you're an open source organization, they'll give you the pro plan for free. And we've been on Netlify since, I don't know, whenever like we redid the web, like
it was
redid the website
the
from
first year for Hacktoberfest.
Hacktoberfest, yeah. So that's probably April 2020.
October of 2020.
And yeah, we've been on Netlify since then, and I've always been a huge fan. So when I heard you were going there, I was very, very excited. It was awesome.
I'm just laughing because Triple B's in the chat, bald bearded builder, Michael Jolly, and I said, "Hey, Triple B," but I wrote Triple B, and so now I feel terrible.
Triples.
Yeah, or maybe we could call him Triple Trouble. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, no, like Netlify is a big fan of open source, so like that's why they offer those plans like that. It's they don't just give them out to anybody, but definitely there's lots of great open source projects that we like to support. So
yeah, and we did, like, it wasn't, I think they give it out to mostly anybody. If you're actually an open source organization, we didn't, I mean, I applied and it was like a form, and got a response the same day or the next day or something like that. It wasn't like, it was very easy, and it was totally cool. So Netlify is awesome. Speaking of frameworks on Netlify, are you going to be getting some WordPress going on there pretty soon? PHP?
Yeah. Well, you can actually. I know you're joking, kind of being /serious, but you can actually. My coworker Matt Kane, who currently isn't on the frameworks team, but he was. But you can actually run. He has an example of running PHP and Wasm on the edge. I can find that tweet. So, like, if you want to deploy your WordPress site within Wasm, within an edge function,
boom, Dan.
There you go.
So yeah, I think that fits right into squarely into the, you were so interested in seeing if you could, you didn't stop to think if you should.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely a proof of concept, a fun thing. It was more like, I remember when you put it out, I think I responded with, now even JavaScript devs can get their Lamborghinis, because like everybody always has those jokes about, well, they're not necessarily jokes, like the creator of Laravel has a Lamborghini, I believe, because like PHP and Laravel are pretty successful, even though people try to trash talk it all the time. So it's
PHP is awesome. I honestly actually work in PHP all the time. But I was just trying to think of a jokey framework, and WordPress was the first thing that I thought of. So
all right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Michael also said next step they put all that in Flash, and there was like actually Flash stuff covered in our lightning talks earlier today. So it's not gone forever.
Yeah, I'll get working on that cold fusion, and while I'm at it, Michael, I'll also work on getting Java applets in Wasm working on the edge if you want. So
man, Java applets, I just got like a shiver, like a cold shiver of
it was. I still remember it. Just like you'd have your website, and then there would be this gray square with this little Java logo coffee with the hot part of the coffee kind of waving, and it'd just be like loading applet or something, and they took forever, because like broadband internet only really came about like mid to late 90s. So like, I don't know, I almost kind of wonder if like it would have caught on better if broadband had been more prevalent at the time, because like it was slow, just because of that. But
I mean, not to get too far into it, I think the big reason like Java stuff got shut down, and also Flash, was security, problems.
Yeah,
rampant security problems. But I had something else to say, but I lost it. So we can move on.
Sorry, I was just like, I'm being super distracted by Michael in the chat who says, I still didn't know why I just didn't remain a VBA developer. By now, I'd be integrating ChatGPT into Excel and Word like a boss. Michael, the time has not run out. You can still do all of those things.
Yeah. Also, ChatGPT. Nice talk about ChatGPT from Matt today in Lightning Talks. So
Yeah.
check out Virtual Coffee. Something.
Something.
Lightning Talks. We had Lightning Talks that will be up very soon. They were live streamed. They'll be
I was about to
broken
shout
down.
out some link, and I don't know what link to shout out. We'll put up somewhere
Triple
though.
B also
Dan
just
hasn't been a
mentioned
podcast host for very long. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, it's only been 7 seasons. I hear season 8 is when you catch your stride. So
Yeah, thanks.
I'm hoping for that. We'll see.
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So, all right. I just wanted to, so we can keep talking, but also Dominic does a really good job of putting together our Friday Twitter chat. So if you don't follow us already on Twitter, we're at Virtual Coffee. Can't say it. Virtual Coffee IO. And every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, we drop our Twitter chat. And Dominic, that's run by Dominic Duffin, who was on the podcast this season. So we can go ahead and dive into some of those questions, unless, Nick, there's something that you want to bring up and to talk about as our special guest.
I can't at the moment. I'll try and think of something else. I got slightly distracted because I have to just reply to an email for something. But I'll definitely try and think of something because I know I'm super happy to be on the podcast. It's just like there's something that had come up that I completely forgot about, so I just had to email them. But let me just send that.
Michael, you are on Twitter. So in the chat, I'm responding to the chat. Michael, if you're not on Twitter, I DM you on Twitter. We do not do our chat on
Does he reply?
Mastodon. No. Yes, he does reply. We don't do Mastodon chats because we're not down with Mastodon yet, right?
I mean,
I've been
I don't
on it
even
for a
know.
while,
I don't
but
even know where to start with Mastodon.
Nick is down with Mastodon. You can DM him on Mastodon, and he
free
will
to
let
toot.
you know.
Feel free to toot me. Toot away.
Yeah.
Why is it called that? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
like
really
not
good,
going to any place
honestly,
that
yeah.
calls it a toot.
Okay. So I can explain all this if it's not clear, but like also I'm the Mastodon instance. So like unlike Twitter, it's like there's just twitter.com. Mastodon, you have several not several, like as many instances as people want to create. And then so like I'm on a instance I joined in 2017 and it's called toot.cafe. So like if you want to reach me on Mastodon, my address is @NikkiTOnline@toot.cafe. The reason I'm pretty sure why it's called Toot is because the logo is a mastodon, like which is I think pretty similar to a mammoth, like a woolly mammoth. I'm not sure what the difference is, but like it's so like elephant trunk, and I guess elephant trunks make a tooting noise. Either that or mastodons farted a lot back in the Ice Age. I have no idea. But they just went with that. So yeah.
There's almost no doubt that that's it, you know. All right. I feel like Google says mastodons were shorter and stockier than mammoths with shorter and straighter tusks. So
okay.
There you go.
Gotcha.
And what everybody really wants to know is that they are using DNA of mastodons, right? With elephants to breed them into existence.
I thought you were going to talk about the meatball.
Oh, this is
meatballs? Did you say meat?
Yes. Mastodon meatballs? I don't know if I want to eat meatballs. I think I might have to do a hard pass on prehistoric meat.
Somebody made a meatball from
best before 180.
Wait, meatballs?
This is like truly, I don't know what do you call it? Like just awful stuff. But somebody made. Do I have to share my whole screen? Oh yeah, window. All right, here we go. Ready? Here it is. All right, window share. Did that work? Yeah. Somebody, get out of here, ad. Somebody, made a massive meatball with woolly mammoth DNA, and I've seen this headline a bunch of times. I've refused to open the article, but still it's stuck into my brain. I haven't actually read the article, so but
Mastodon
apparently
meatballs.
I'll put this in the get out of here, ads.
Maybe that could
Right.
drive adoption of people using Mastodon, like create an account and get like a free bag of meatballs, kind of like, like I don't know if your families eat the IKEA meatballs, they're pretty solid.
I mean, those are tasty, yeah.
Yeah, and
it's just
they come with an Allen key too.
Almost bet. Almost bet.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, Becca.
I saw a very good prank. Sometimes pranks are like mean spirited, and sometimes pranks are really, really good. And I saw a prank, and I think they actually got in real trouble for it. But somebody, how IKEA has those arrows to like point you through the way. They like put in fake arrows and made like a maze that never ends in IKEA. Which was very entertaining to me. So if you follow the arrows, you just kind of keep going in circles, Anyway, that's my IKEA story.
So I feel like the biggest issue here is that we let Michael derail any conversation that we had, which I should have known better because I have worked for him for an entire year. This is what happens when you let Michael comment on anything.
I'm embracing the triple B derailment of the conversation.
The triple B derailment. We have had some marathon meetings, which were were very, very great. But that also brings us to a topic about perseverance, which we posted about in our Twitter chat. Have you ever felt like giving up but ended up not? What motivated you to keep going? And what did you learn from that experience? Are there challenges that you have ahead that you're afraid you won't be able to complete? And how can we help? That was our back pocket topic on Tuesday. Any thoughts?
I missed Tuesday. I was there Thursday, but no, it's a great question. It's like I don't know. I mean, like in terms of like giving up, it's like like I've mentioned this to you before, Becca. Triple B's derailing. It's a manager developed a lot of perseverance. I mean, sorry, folks who are listening to this. You can't see the chat, but Triple B is making us laugh. No, I think maybe the first time where you think you can't do something, it's pretty daunting, and then maybe you got support or you did it on your own, but you get past that hump of like, okay, I did it, and like the more that happens, I think it's easier to say, like when you're like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, and then I'll think back like, even if it's not the same thing, I'm like, no, I got past this, and like so, and like I don't know, it's something that over the years also like just having like definitely had some rough stuff happen to me in my personal life that I don't really particularly want to talk on stream about, but like there's just so many things that I don't care about because of that, like that are just so like it's something I don't worry about, you know what I mean? And so like when it comes to tasks and stuff, I think it's really, I think to persevere too is you have to avoid getting overwhelmed, and the way to avoid getting overwhelmed, at least what I've learned, and I'm probably not the first to say it, but is like you got to break down the problem, whatever it is. So like, because if you look at, I don't know, like say for example, Dan wanted to redo the entire virtual coffee site again for some reason.
You would never want to do that, right, Dan? That's not anything you've ever mentioned recently at all.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Sorry. So that's foreshadowing unintentionally by me. Sorry. but like, at first glance, you might be like, oh man, that is going to take forever. But if and if you break it down, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this part and this part, and you just slowly. So I'm not going to look at the chat. I just saw partially what. Don't
listen to anything Michael says, okay?
But I think breaking it down is so good, and it sounds so obvious maybe, but like as you chip away at something, you know, whether it's a tough problem or just you're working on a feature or whatever, it's like every time you finish that task or that piece of it, you know, it's like looking at the thing as one piece, you're like, oh my goodness, it's so much. But like as you slowly see, like, oh, I've got 20 tasks done already. And then it's all of a sudden it's like you can see the momentum and the progress. And I think that's super helpful. The other thing for me is like it's not a cocky thing. It's more even when I don't know stuff, I just know I can learn things now, and like I know if there's something like I'm not certain about whatever, I know I'll figure it out. I'm you know, and just knowing that also helps me figure out things. And I'm trying to still stay serious for a sec, but I can't because Becca's smiling because I know she's looking at the chat.
It's Michael. He's derailing everything. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Apparently, I'm a flat earther. Well,
You're not a flat
it
earther.
depends. Well, you just
It
don't go to
depends.
the just don't go to the end, you know, because that's where you'll fall off, right, Michael? So
It's true.
anyways, that was my ramblings. I don't know if that was coherent at all for anybody, but
Well, oh,
Oh
Dan, you did
man, I
this
didn't even
smart
see
thing
that.
of putting comments up.
Oh, here we go.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so
What are you doing? Add the banners like you're supposed to.
Nick was a flat earther.
No, don't take away that banner. We don't want that one. The good ones, Dan.
Yeah.
Do
I've
better.
slowly
Good
come
ones. I'm
around
sorry,
to
I-
accepting we
We
live on a
we just
round
started
rock.
using StreamYard. We're just getting used to this, friends.
Yeah.
It is a new tool. I learned a couple things today during the lightning talks.
Good to learn
Yeah.
while you're live, right?
So I forgot to
Yeah.
share this with Becca, but I figured out, so when you are hosting a thing on StreamYard in an event, if you invite guests, they can like start sharing their screen and it doesn't show up, you know, and then you as the host can like activate it, you know.
Yeah, but I
But
shared my
no, I'm
screen.
saying this is what I'm saying. If you're the host, if you're a host or like a member host, like, you know, so Beck and I are both like account owners or whatever. When you start sharing it, it goes up no matter what is already happening. Both Beck and I discovered that. I did that,
Which I did not know. I shared
did it
my
to- I
my
did it to
slides
Gant.
during Brian Meeker
Yeah.
during his Obsidian talk, and it went up there. And like, luckily, I feel like I pretty quickly recognized that like this is not good, and I took it down, and I was able to switch it.
Yeah.
But I did not anticipate that when I shared I thought it was going to go backstage in StreamYard. It did not
It
go
should've.
backage.
I
It went
would have
straight
thought
up.
it would have.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, I would
StreamYard.
have assumed it would
We're
have gone
calling you out.
backstage first
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. There might be some setting, you know, that I haven't found yet.
Yeah.
No, I did the exact same thing to Gant this morning at the beginning. So apologies to Gant too. It was a second of my slide while he was still talking. So, and he didn't have any slides, so it was even more, you know, like disruptive because it was just like Gant, and then it was my slide and Gant, and then it was Gant again. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
Gant cracked me up.
Gant's awesome.
Gant is amazing. His talk is always so good, and his was the title of his talk. Give me a second, and I'll grab it. It was nope, I did not grab it. I clicked the wrong thing. Where did that?
We're doing great here at Virtual Coffee.
Do you know? Okay, do you have it up, Dan?
What? No.
Oh, here we go.
Fearless and fabulous,
conquering your stage one laugh at a time. And Gant is incredibly funny and has been very impactful in my speaking career. So everything he says is like, it's gold. I just like eat it up. Well, you can't really eat up gold. It's like pepper.
Well, it's malleable, so like
drink it.
You could maybe there's Goldschlager. Is that I can't remember, is that real gold in Goldschlager?
Yeah,
I feel like it isn't.
I think it is. I think it is.
No, it is for sure.
Okay. Yeah. What was I gonna say? No, just a shout out to the lightning talks. I mean, I tweeted it out before, but they were all really great. But the other thing that I really like about virtual coffee with the lightning talks, and then we also have lunch and learns for folks who aren't aware that might just be catching this podcast for the first time. It's there's a lot of people in the community who were reluctant to give talks initially, either out of shyness or maybe a bit of lack of confidence. And the lunch and learns, they've been so great for so many people that I've seen, because like I'm I'm extroverted, and like I'm the kind of person that will just talk to a random person like anywhere. But I know not everybody's like that. And it was just the the lunch and learns have been great for that, because it's like a welcoming space where people can just, be in a safe space to one, give the talk, but also, get, great feedback from people. And it's a great space for people to just keep improving on their public speaking. And the lightning talks are great for that as well too. And I'm smiling again because I see Becca smiling, and now I'm gonna look at the chat and see what Triple B is written.
Yep, that's about it. Well, and that is like one of the great things that's happened over the past couple years at Virtual Coffee, and one of the things I've been thinking about a lot very recently too. It's like our mission is to be a welcoming tech community that allows room for growth and mentorship at all levels, to create meaningful opportunities for learning, leadership, and contribution for everyone. And we say that all the time, and I can rattle it off like I just did, but like we spend a lot of time thinking through those things. And lightning talks is a big part of that, because it allows
Yeah.
people who have never been speakers to participate. It allows people to learn in a way that they feel comfortable, because they know they can go to a speaker at Virtual Coffee who they've never talked to before, but they're connected in that space to
Mhm.
ask those questions. And so I really love the lightning talks, and I'd love to see them happen more than once or twice a year.
Yeah.
But like it's all part of that, like that growing and sharing and stuff that we do.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things to see.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of organic growth in the community, in the sense that like for folks who are already in virtual coffee, like the norm might just seem to be you go into Slack and there's the automated join today's virtual coffee and the Zoom starts. But that's not how it began. Like I a long time ago, I won't say in a galaxy far away or whatever, but I will.
You can do
Uh,
it.
That's
Totally
a,
uh,
that's a
embrace that.
response.
it,
Dated.
I can't remember exactly how I started talking to Becca, but like when I worked at Dev2, we had acquired Code Newbie, and Code Newbie had this Twitter check-in. And I remember Becca, I don't even remember what she wrote in there, but I was trying to be helpful, and I was like, oh, try this or something. But then after that, I'm not sure how, but like you showed up on my timeline, or maybe I gave you a follow. I don't remember, but I saw you tweet out, this is like April 2020. Hey, does anybody want to meet for a virtual coffee? And I was just like, I just, it felt a little weird, but I DM'd you. I was like, hey, is it okay if I come to virtual coffee? And, and it was literally the first Zooms were like, you were literally saying, here's the link in like a Twitter DM.
Yep.
And
All
then that's how it
DMs.
started. Yeah. And then I don't think we even had Slack yet at that point.
No, and I
Yeah.
had to be talked into Slack. There was somebody that like early on was like, I started a Slack, and I was like, I don't know about that. Like that seems like a lot of stuff.
I don't know.
And we're not doing a lot of stuff. And
Yeah.
then a couple months later, I'm pretty sure as Brian Healy was like, hey, Slack would be really good to keep up these conversations. And I was like, I can't handle
Yeah.
that. And he was like, well, then I'll start it if that's cool. And I was like, all right, you want to do it? You go for it. And that's like kind of been the whole thing of virtual coffee, right? Like
Mhm.
we always want to support people with what they want to do. Like, hey, you got an idea? We're here to support you. Go for it.
Yeah.
And so it's not about like waiting for the things that we're doing. It's about like you do the things that you want to do, and we're here to give you the support that you need.
Yeah, and there's been like just so many things that people have just done on their own initiative. Like there's a bunch of things I don't participate in, just one because I'm super busy
Yeah,
these days, but there's a lot of great things out there. There's like the tech study group, there's accountability buddies. That's very difficult to say.
it is.
There's the
Front
we
end
have
Friday battles. Wait, what is it,
yeah.
Dan? You know what?
Front end Friday. Shoot, let me look it up. Front end Friday, something, something. A whole bunch of F's.
I
Maybe
think
I
it's
have to
just
front
front
end
end
Friday.
Friday.
Front end Friday folks fighting CSSbattle.dev.
There we
That's
go.
what it is. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah,
And
there's that. What else is there? There's just like
I went to my
there's
first
people.
Feelings Friday today, and
Okay.
that's run by Ethan, and which was inspired by the founders of Flatiron Group. And
Okay.
it was like a really nice space to talk about what was going on in our week, how we felt, and to be able to identify like, do we want feedback? Do we want to just vent? And like to establish like what we want out of that conversation. And so that was like a
Mhm.
really great way. We had a member who had been here for a while and then like went through a lot of personal stuff and dropped out off for a while, and then he was back, and that was one of the first events that he had coming back in, like to just be there and to listen. And it was really, really great to be able to extend that opportunity because Ethan thought this would be a really great space for people to be able to share what they're going through.
Oh, that's great. And there's other things, and even though they're repeated all the time, I think people appreciate them. Like I know you always do the Wednesday check-in. How's everybody doing, Becca? And then there's like Friday, like what was your wins and so on, or like how are things going to there, stuff like that. The other thing you mentioned it before, but like I think it was after, was it Hacktoberfest 2020 or was it 2021 when we started really doing a lot of open source at Virtual
It was
Coffee? I can't remember.
2020, right, Dan?
yeah, it is the first one.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I was at Dev 2, and yeah, I remember because I was running Hacktoberfest. Well, not running it, but me and Christina Gordon, who I used to work with, we were kind of the face of the Dev 2 kind of stuff there for Hacktoberfest. And then I remember starting to do some stuff with Virtual Coffee, and then Kirk started up some stuff. And then there was like, if you're a maintainer, like this is some things you can do and stuff. And then I can't remember, maybe you can speak to this, Dan, because I can't remember when the site came about, but at some point I think you put up the site, and then it was open source, so then people from the community, well, also people outside the community, I guess, but that was a great way to start getting people into open source, I think, as well.
Yeah, it was that first Hacktoberfest. I made the first version so Kieran made the site. The first version of the site, it was just like a single pager, nice little single page thing. And then to basically create some issues for Hacktoberfest, we created similar to the current version of the site. It was built on 11D at first, but that's right when we got onto Netlify, like I was talking about before, and all that stuff. And it looks very similar to how it looks now. We've just added things to it since then. And at some point, in the last year, switched over to Remix instead of 11D. But it was to do that, to encourage our members to kind of get into open source. And we figured out a way to the members page, is all people add their own profile like files to the repository to get their member profile onto the site. And that was like the big the big push for our Hacktoberfest thing. You can get one pull request for free right here. I mean, you have to do something, you still have to do a pull request and all that stuff. But I don't know, it was cool. And I feel like it was pretty successful.
I thought that was a super fun way to get people kind of kickstarted into open source, because it's something you can see, like it's literally your picture on the Virtual Coffee site or whatever you use for your avatar for GitHub. So yeah, I thought it was super fun. Um,
Dealing with distractions.
yeah,
Yes.
sorry, I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat again. Yeah, you should definitely have Triple B do a lightning talk on distractions.
All right. Yeah, Michael, do you hear that? Like you're going to have to do a lightning talk next time because that's what you wrote. So, there you go. That's your punishment
What
Yeah,
is he being
/
punished
reward for being distracting in the chat.
for?
yeah.
He's intentionally trying to distract us.
That's all good. It's all good.
Got
He's
it.
Michael's good people. I know we're kind of trolling a little bit at the moment, but
Yes.
yeah,
100%. Like Michael is one of my favorite people, and he was a very fantastic team leader for me in the last year. So I do appreciate Michael. And
yeah.
also his inner troll. You've not been on the wait list. You've not even signed up for the wait list. Okay, man? Okay?
I've
And
got 10
there's
invites
James.
if you need one. I've been a little busy, so they've been kind of stockpiling. But yeah, I'm actually gonna be hanging out with Michael in I can't remember if I think it's early June. He's gonna be on my live stream because he's got a new role at I believe the company's called Tigress Data. So we're gonna be talking about that. I know nothing about it, so it'll be classic. YOLO. Let's just look at something.
I love the YOLO stuff. So that YOLO life.
Yeah.
You can have me on your podcast again. I was just on your podcast recently, but I can talk about my new role at
Yeah. Let's do it up.
Open Sauce. Just say it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's no longer TBD. All right. Okay.
I mean, well, just like right now. I'll just say it right now.
James is saying he pushed a prod today. Yeah,
Breaking
it's
news.
YOLO all around. Yeah, pushing a prod. Becca's spilling the beans. So no, but that's no. Congrats on Open Sauce.
Yeah,
I,
that's huge.
I love Open Sauce. Well, Brian Douglas, who created it, is super awesome, and there's a lot of great people over there, like Brandon Roberts, Ted. I can't remember his last name at the moment, but it's Vortex. That's his handle on GitHub and stuff. But yeah, it's a great project. I've contributed a bit there, and it's one, it's a great community, and I just love what they're doing over there. They are productizing it now, so like it is open source, but they're actually working on a product now. But it's such a great welcoming community, and it's a place I consistently tell people to go to if they're starting to get into open source. It's Brian's a big fan of good first issues, so it's a great place.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna have to deal with this chat because they're getting out of hand. All right, like I am not excluding any of you. James, you can have an invite into our Slack. You've come to virtual coffee before. Michael, you need to join the wait list, or you need to find an active volunteer who is willing to
Yeah.
allow you to come into virtual coffee, because that's how we do it here.
I'll hook you up, Michael, even though you told me I'm a flat earther.
Yeah. Well, how dare you, Michael? And look
Yeah.
how nice Nick is to invite you, even though you accused him of such things.
Well, the Earth's flat, so if I just kind of push the invite, it should just slide across to I forget where Michael lives. Is it not Louisiana?
Alabama.
Alabama, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael could never give a lightning talk. That's true. In the chat, he says, I Becca knows that I can never give a lightning talk. What's the time limit? We were a little over today. We went a half an hour past what we anticipated was going to happen. There was. Yep. Go ahead.
I mean, if it was only a half an hour and there's 11 people, I feel
Only a half an hour.
that's 2.5 minutes per person. That's not that bad.
Promptness, Dan.
Also, Becca told me today she always just plans on me going over, which
Is
I didn't
also
know.
true.
But
Dan always goes over. He has never once not gone over.
That's fair, I guess. But also, how dare you? Is all I wanted to say.
I go last, so it doesn't matter if I go over or not. So I have the
Nobody
fewest
timed
viewers.
Bekah's. I noticed you didn't volunteer to go.
It's all coming out. All the dirty laundry's coming out right now.
I tried to gear my talk to be the last talk because I was also the MC, and it's weird if the MC also gives a talk.
Okay.
So I tried to curate it to be that last piece of thing.
I like that.
Thanks, James Quick. Yes, you noticed that I am flexing the VC mug that's in our store right now.
I gotta grab one of those.
I gotta send you one, like I said I was
got
going to.
the enamel one here.
Okay.
Look at you, all fancy.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to drink out of it.
Polywork one.
It doesn't have anything in it because if you put anything hot in it, it burns you.
Okay.
So don't buy it if you want to drink coffee.
For a mug.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know that until I tested it out. So, I mean, it's still in the store if you want to get it, but just like be warned if you get the enamel one.
Yeah. If you're looking to burn your hands,
even the handle gets hot.
But you can find out more about our merch at virtualcoffee.io/store. Is that what it is?
Are you asking me? I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
I can't tell if Becca's gonna sneeze or if she's just making funny eye squinting for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm making that's how I concentrate by
breaking
closing
news.
one eye.
Breaking news: don't go to /store.
Oh no,
that's a 404. I mean, any of our things you can always just go to the normal site, virtualcoffee.io, and find links to everything else. The link to our store is store.virtualcoffee.io.
Okay.
You just had it in the wrong.
I probably should add a redirect for
Yeah, you probably
store.
should.
That probably be good.
You probably should do that thing.
It is it's one of those age-old questions. When do you do subdomain versus just like a path?
Well, it's like Shopify and all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's a little more complicated to try to have it on a subdomain, or I mean, not have it on a subdomain. But regardless, store.virtualcoffee.io. What a great store!
I'm gonna make squinting. I'm doing terrible eye squinting
eyes.
now.
That's what I do. I do the squinting eye. It's always the right eye. You gotta get the right eye down, and that's what indicates that you're thinking. Because I'm thinking, okay.
Yesterday, I was trying to open a glue thing, and it was like this little craft kit for Ben, my 7-year-old, and it was like this tube of it was just a little white glue, but it was, and we have like tons of glue, but like the craft kit came with glue, and it looked like it was open, but it wasn't. No glue was coming out. I started squeezing it and looked at it, and then shot myself right in the eye with glue.
Oh,
it came out. It came out very suddenly and with.
It wasn't crazy
lots
glue,
of velocity. No, it was just like white glue. It was just like Elmer's. What is essentially Elmer's glue.
Okay.
So ultimately,
you can practically eat that stuff. You put that on pasta with a bit of salt.
For sure. But it was not my favorite thing in the world. I mean, and of course, it was in my eye, so I couldn't actually do anything else. But it was also on my shirt and also all over the floor and on the kitchen table as well. So. It was a large mess, and for once, it was all my fault. I couldn't blame it on the kids even a little bit that time. So
you could have put the glue in front of the kid, like, "Oh, Ben, what did you do?"
Oh yeah, why'd you shoot me in the ue with the glue?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't thinking very clearly because I had glue in my eye. So, it's a good call though, Nick. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Glad it wasn't crazy glue though, because that would have been disastrous.
Yeah,
that would have been very bad.
Crazy glue is good though it's probably not medically sound to say this, but I've crazy glued my head before from because when I played rugby, I've split my head open so many times, and I'd usually get stitches and stuff, but the thing with stitches is if you don't get them handled quickly, you're gonna end up with a massive scar because it literally starts healing incorrectly. And nowadays, if you go to the doctor, depending on the size of the amount of stitches you need, a lot of times if it's kind of tiny, they'll actually use medical grade crazy glue now. But I feel like I might have pioneered that in the late 90s by just saying, "Hey, I need to stitch myself up." So
I will
I would
provide
too,
you
but
with stitches anytime you want. Just let me
oh
know.
my gosh.
All I wanted to do in my life is to stitch somebody up. I'm pretty
It's
sure
like
I'd be
the
very good at it.
fourth time today you've been offering medical advice, Becca.
Yeah.
No, okay. But I have told on the podcast before once I almost gave stitches to somebody. Did I tell that story before?
Let's hear
I
it.
don't think so. Yeah.
When I was a freshman in college, I was friends with a lot of the hockey team. And somebody came home and had a pretty big gash on their head. And I was like, I can handle that for you. I've had a lot of stitches in my life. And so as we were gathering the materials, and
Yeah.
he was totally down with it. He was like, "Yeah, you can give me stitches. That's totally like, yeah, you've had
Yeah.
stitches. You know what you're doing. Sure, you can give me stitches." And so
Yeah.
somebody was going to go get a sewing kit and some sterilization materials. And then the RA, the resident hall director, came and was like, "You may not give him stitches. You must leave right now." So I was like very, very close to being able to give someone else stitches. So it
Okay.
is my lifelong journey to be able to provide medical care to somebody, since I have a master's in English and I have been in tech for a couple of years. So
So
if you
that's
need me, let me know.
that's practically a surgeon. So yeah.
Practically, I
Yeah.
mean, like, I can follow a YouTube video and do the
That
thing, just like a little stitch.
You had me until YouTube video.
yeah. No,
Also,
I
like alcohol,
actually
you just pour it on there, right? Pour it on there and
yeah.
I mean, true.
You're
One time, I don't know if you've ever seen the like bar video game where it's like bowling. It's like there's a golf one too, but there's a bowling game where it's like a ball that you like push, and it's like one of those stand-up video games. And
yeah.
we used to play this at the bar that we used to go to, and I mean, I like to win games, and so I get like kind of aggressive and slam my hand against the edge, cut my hand open
Whoa.
at the bar, and not like horrible, but like it was definitely like
Yeah.
bleeding. And then I just like turned around to the bartender, who I knew pretty well because we were there all the time. And I said, "Jeannie, my hand's bleeding because of your game." And she was holding a bottle of gin, and she looked at me and she's like, "Oh no." And then she just poured the bottle of gin on my hand.
that's the right move. She did the right thing.
It was, you know what? No infection, no scar. I'm perfectly healed now.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, I gotta say, to continue on Becca's story, I actually had somebody stitch me up who wasn't a nurse.
Yes.
So
And it would
this
turn out
was
amazing, right?
yeah. Well, I have a scar. I can't remember now, but it's like under one of my eyes. Like it is from rugby, but like I went to tackle somebody, and like the way you're supposed to tackle somebody, like a textbook tackle, is you grab your arms and you wrap it around their legs, and like the side of your head is kind of like on their butt cheek, and you kind of just dump them. That didn't happen, and so like I basically got two cleats into my face, and so
Oh.
like I had like it was like this gash here. I can't remember which side. I can never tell, but
if you get closer
so
to the camera, I'm gonna be able to tell you.
yeah, I can't tell. I think it's this side. No, this side. No, that's my nose. Anyways, but and it was my first year playing in university, and it was rookie night that night. And my roommate, or no, it wasn't my roommate. It was like one of the senior guys. I told him like, I'm at the hospital. I'm gonna be late, and he's like, just tell them to give you the stitches and stuff. And I asked the nurse there, and she's like, this never happened. And she just gave me like the needle, the stitches, and like the steri strips. And then I went back to my room and took a couple shots of tequila, and then rubbed ice on my face, and then he just sewed it up. And yeah, I'm still here. So, and
Nice.
it was hopefully sterile. I mean,
what kind of did you use? Just thread from like a sew kit?
No, like they literally gave a stitching kit from like what they would use in the hospital. It's just
nice.
they're not supposed to give those out, but the nurse, the nurse clearly, because it was a small town, the university I was in, the nurse knew I was on the rugby team, and she knew I was going to a rookie party or like just to a party. So she's just like, it's the end of my shift. Take this. I don't care, but this never happened, kind of thing.
Oh man.
So shout out to that nurse. I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but shout out.
Nurses are the best.
I can't stop reading Triple B's
I know.
comments.
Same. Okay, Michael, we're done being distracted by you. It's been an hour since we've been here, and that is where our podcast ends. So we want to thank Nick for being here during this podcast episode. Listen, Nick, this season, we've been doing a one-word description of what your career journey has looked like, and I've given you absolutely no preparation to think about what that one word is, but I'm going to ask you about it now. As I like try and push through
Try and
this
breathe.
congestion that I have going right now. Sorry for everybody that heard me sniffling. What is your one word of your developer journey?
Yeah, it's like it's when we had the first podcast episode, I said structured YOLO. It's something I kind of made up on the
Yeah,
fly,
my
but
favorite.
I really do mean it. And like when people hear the term YOLO, they think like maybe Red Bull, base jumping, stuff like that. That's not what I mean in that context. It's really like the first, whenever opportunities appear for you, basically strongly consider taking them, because one, not everybody gets those opportunities. And, the other thing is, like, even if it's something you're like, I don't know if I can do everything that's in this thing or whatever. In my experience, like just getting out of your comfort zone as well, that and the just taking opportunities that present themselves, assuming there's no major red flags, it's changed my career trajectory like immensely. And it's like, I love getting out of my comfort zone now. And it's always the same thing. Initially, it's like, my brain hurts, I don't get something or whatever. But then you get past that. And, aside from that, just, it's going to sound cheesy, but like, just being kind to people, it goes a long way, like it's not just your developer skills. Like, I think in my career, like people have enjoyed working with me, and I don't mean that, I'm not trying to say that in a cocky way. I just mean just by being fun and kind, that changes like a whole dynamic of like the people you work with, and all those things together have just made my career pretty successful, I think. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that because it's impacted my career immensely to be able to learn from you, Nick, and to have that understanding and to know that I can go to you if I need career advice, if I need support, if I have a question that I don't know. And like that idea of structured YOLO is one of my favorite things since starting virtual coffee years
Same.
ago now. Because like there are times where I'm like, I cannot do this. And in the back of my mind, like this little feeling comes ahead, and it's like structured YOLO. And I'm like, all right, I got this. Like it's just that bit of confidence that I didn't have because of the words that you said years ago now, to be able to bring that into the things that I'm doing. So sorry.
Gonna make
I
me cry on the live stream.
that's all I want. It really is for you to cry.
cry and stitch me up. That's the criteria.
Try and stitch you up. That's what I'm here for. And also to be like, get back out there and do the thing you're supposed to do.
Maybe not at the same time, the crying and the stitching.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't want the person stitching you to be crying at the same time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
All of those things have been incredibly important to me in the last couple of years. And I just wish for everybody who listens out there to realize that there is a support system for you. There is an opportunity for you. And sometimes it's very hard, and sometimes you're going to have to go out of your comfort zone. And
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't make sense at all, but you do the thing and it provides returns that you never, ever thought
Yeah.
that you would get.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, for you, like, I'm super happy that I've been able to support you, but you also have to remember, like, even though I'm supporting you, it's you who did it in the end. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I gave you that slight little push, maybe, but it's really you that did it, you know? So just remember that too. So
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. And thank you, everybody. This was a great season of the Virtual Coffee Podcast, and we'll be back. I don't know. When does season 8 start? I always forget.
We recorded a new episode already.
We
so
already
we're,
did.
like,
yeah, it starts in an hour. I want Triple B back in the chat. James, quick, let's get the show on the road.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nick, so much for coming on. That was a special surprise. I didn't know Nick was going to come on. So that was
I didn't even know I was.
Yeah.
Hey,
I figured that out.
YOLO,
so
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity. I took it.
All right, cool. Well, thank you both, and thank
Michael, you have no hair.
Listening.
It's still not there. Okay, you can go put some moisturizer on your beard or something, but
I'm
you got no hair to watch.
Yeah, right. Okay. So catch up on talking to Michael somewhere on Twitter, or I don't know where. And yeah, we'll catch you next season. All right, bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.